What's up, YouTube? Mr. Angelo here, and I'm going to talk today about why I put half my money into Lemonade stock. And when we have a look at Lemonade's 1 year graph, so this is the 1 day, 1 year, yeah, it's rallied a lot in these past few months, but just look at how insane this candle is today. Yeah, 26% day. Um, for my portfolio, Lemonade is now at just about 60% um, of my total positions in this portfolio. And and the reason that I decided to make that play was when we look at the top 10 insurance companies in America. So these are the top 10 pure insurance companies. I pulled this off of this website, 20 largest insurance companies. You guys can check that out if you want to read that. I'll put the link in the description. But um, just for my own thinking, I just listed them here. The biggest insurance company in the United States has a $73 billion market cap. The smallest is a $35 billion market cap. After today's epic rally, Lemonade is worth 8.61 billion. We'll see how it plays out over these next few days, but that's how I did the numbers. Insurance is huge, and when you look at the competition that Lemonade is going to be facing as they move forward, if they can manage to become the 10th biggest insurance company in the United States, that's a 4x from where they're at. Pretty good returns if they can achieve that goal, which when we get into it, you'll see is looking pretty good. And if they become the biggest insurance company in America, they will have 8.5x from here. And so, quite great potential in terms of their competition, if you can even call them that, their competition's market cap. Like, once you start looking at Lemonade, you start realizing, could they actually become the biggest in America? Just thinking about it. From the technological perspective, and you start thinking like it seems pretty likely. First of all, Lemonade is an international company right now, so they're in Europe. I heard on a CEO interview that they have 40% of the European population covered, and they're launching down so that what they've essentially done is they've chosen the European countries with the most densely populated European countries. They've ranked them, and they're just attempting to expand down as they move forward. And so, yeah, they've already got 40%. I'm sure the next country will be probably the fourth biggest European country. Feel free to look up what that is. But yeah, they're just trying to cover as much population as they can, and they have most US states covered, and they will be expanding throughout the United States. And so they're going to be covering more population than the biggest American insurance companies, obviously. They're also growing incredibly rapidly at the moment. And so this just speaks to their like execution, in my opinion. They're the first insurance company to they're the fastest insurance company to reach 1 million users, and they did it about 4 or 5 times faster than their competition. So I just took this off Twitter, but it took them 4.25 years to get to 1 million customers, and you compare that to the 19 or 22 years of second place. And this is what Daniel Shriver posted. Lemonade's also great with their Twitter and kind of like poking fun at the competition a little bit. I do respect that about them. But yeah, look at this. So 4.25 compared to USAA's 47. I know technology is an advantage, but Jesus, like a 5x advantage, that seems pretty promising. Um, could what we know now about the company, just the fact that they're executing at such a high level and just the fact that they're expanding across Europe and the United States simultaneously, does that let us infer that they're going to probably continue to grow just in the next 5 or 10 years? I would say, like, to me, it does. Um, what's crazy about them is they can launch new products across the globe without sending anyone there or setting up an office. They just launch because their whole company is on the internet. And just when you think about like how quickly they can continue to grow if they just start expanding into different countries, Canada, Australia, across the world, like the CEO has said is their ambition, you start to see just how amazingly fast these guys can continue to spread. Um, but what's even more crazy is there's a reason they're growing so fast, and it's because they're just a much better product. Um, I really love the idea that they don't make any profits by uh, denying claims. And you guys, if you want to have a deeper look about how that is, you can watch like the investor presentations and the CEO interviews. It's been explained a lot at this point, but what they essentially do is they just take a flat fee from the customer, and then they use the remaining money that the customer has paid them to put into like essentially a giant pool where they attempt to pay claims from. And at the end of the year, if they make a profit on that, they donate a certain amount of the profit that they make. So they're like running a fee model um, in the insurance game, although they do a lot more than that. But yeah, that's kind of how they avoid negative incentives with their customers, or at least zero sum incentives. Um, what's cool about it too is that model, the fact that they give away the profits at the end of the year to charities of the customer's choice, is pretty amazing from a marketing standpoint and also just from the consumer standpoint. I know myself, like, if I can pay the same amount and I know some of that money is going to go to charity very likely over the course of my policy, or I can choose to go to an insurance company that isn't doing that and is just keeping the money for themselves and likely investing it into, you know, oil companies or these large ETFs that are just buying everything. They're not selectively picking their investments. So I know my money is being used in ways that I would certainly not use it if I'm giving it to an old school insurance company. Why would I ever give it to an old school insurance company when I can give it to the company that's giving back my money into society and um, doing so in a charitable way that I honestly can get behind? And so, given those two choices, it seems to me like that's an easy pick for me personally, and I know a lot of other people are um, thinking like this. So it's crazy because I can feel good about it. I can feel good about buying my insurance. Um, and I'll probably tell my friends about it. And yeah, that's fueling some staggering growth. Another thing that's quite remarkable, besides the fact that you're obviously going to use Lemonade if you want to feel good about your insurance, is just how much more efficient they are than the incumbents. I was thinking about it. I was just writing here, like, why are the incumbents slow? I was just like, why are they so slow? I recently had um, I had to I'm in Canada, so Lemonade isn't here yet, but um, I reached out to my old school insurance company to try to get to try to like pay a small amount for some extra coverage, and it took hours and hours of transferring phone calls and talking to slow robots. So I was just like, why are they so inefficient? And they don't want to pay you fundamentally. That's one thing Lemonade's fixing. They're handcuffed by a lot of separate departments. And so their claims department doesn't work with their policies department that is also separate from their sales department. all their departments are categorized differently and not built in a way that is focused on efficient communication. They were obviously built earlier in our society, and thus they're just built on a slower system. They're not made for the new technological systems that have been developed. And also, I was thinking, like, if you're working at an old school insurance company, trust me, I believe you're probably a hardworking person and you are doing your best to pay the bills and you might genuinely enjoy your job. But if you're one of those people who's on the phone listening to claims and listening to customers complain and the confusion and talking, like, I just don't see that type of old school company is provoking the hardest work out of someone, or the passion for them to solve problems or do their job efficiently. Like, I've worked at some of those mind-numbing jobs before, and it's just gonna make you not care. It's gonna provoke some apathy in you. And so Lemonade certainly isn't like that. We can look up their glass door and just see how excited people are about working there. I should have put that up. Maybe I'll pull it up. Lemonade glass door. Check this out. Okay, so a 4.8 out of 5. People love working there. And when you love working somewhere, you're going to try to do a good job. It's crazy to think 1/3 of Lemonade's claims get paid out in seconds. And so think about, as a consumer, just me knowing that fact alone, I'll use them as soon as they come to Canada. Because why would I ever not use a product where a third of the time I'm just going to get my money instantly without having to call anyone or do anything annoying? Um, that sounds pretty good to me. And then the rest are moved forward by their AI. And so I was thinking about what this would be like working for Lemonade compared to an old school insurance company. Think about it, how efficient it is when there's this sophisticated AI in the form of a streamlined information collector that is attempting to move your application for it as fast as it possibly can. And by the time it gets to a human, think about how well organized it is. Like, its whole point is to make things more efficient. So as the back end employee at Lemonade, you're probably, most of the claims that come to you probably just need a tiny bit of clarification or some like small adjustment to the application, not a ground up start from scratch application like old school insurance companies have. And so uh, yeah, like, think about how much faster that is. Um, it's pretty interesting thinking about what their backend's actually like. It'd be interesting if they put a investor presentation out there. Like, it would be interesting to see like the human at work at Lemonade's backend, because I feel like people sleep on just how sophisticated it is. Um, they're also, because of the fact that they're focused on efficiency, using the best technology they can manage to come up with in terms of machine learning. Um, they collect much more data and they organize it much more efficiently. And this is allowing them to predict um, loss ratios, etc. Their loss ratios are dropping because they're able to predict risk better. Sorry, I was trying to say. And if this continues, like, people have questioned, okay, well, like, what exactly is the data that they're collecting and how is it helpful? Like, I'm gonna need more explanation on this. And I agree with that. I'd like to know. But when I'm just thinking about, let's say, predictive models and how Lemonade compares to what old school insurance companies are up to, they're probably collecting a bunch of data. Some of it isn't that predictive and some of it is. And um, little edges in prediction start playing out in a big way. And maybe that one extra data point they collect, maybe they collect thousands, but they find one that's just very predictive that the incumbents aren't touching or getting their hands on. So just right there, the fact that they have much more data and the fact that they have the potential to improve their models at a rapid rate, compared to the incumbents already is like a pretty huge advantage. But I feel like it's probably even more advantageous than people are giving it credit for. Like, if you're able to use thousands of data points more than the incumbent and really like sift through them and try to find the most predictive correlations, it seems like there's gonna be things you find that are quite counterintuitive that probably give you a massive advantage in the field, I would assume. Um, Also, they're better at avoiding fraud because of this type of data collection system and just how efficiently their information is processed. I think this is a little bit counterintuitive when you say, okay, well, this company is paying out claims instantly. Why can't I just trick them? No one's watching me. Why don't I just get a claim, and just like commit insurance fraud? Essentially, thought experiment. No one go about trying this, but maybe just as an experiment, that's something we would never think about doing. Why don't we think about who would be easier to trick? An incumbent who has all of these separate departments and unambitious employees, potentially, not everyone, but maybe more likely an unambitious employee, compared to the bot. I would probably, if I had to put my money on who's going to get tricked, I'd probably put it on the incumbent. And so, yeah, I feel like Lemonade is going to be much more efficient at catching fraud. And I mean, people are going to be less likely to commit fraud with them because they're giving to charity. And so they're stealing from charity. I know if you guys have looked into Lemonade at all, you already know that argument. Um, I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, Lemonade is just bringing the tech heat into the insurance game at a high level. No denying that. Like the CEO and so Shai is the co-founder, and Daniel is the other co-founder. Daniel has had 20 years in technology and has done well. Shai is one of the co-founders of Fiverr, so he's crushing it with two companies at the exact same time, and these guys are beasts. And we know what happens when you bring the tech heat into an industry. The tech heat is very hard to handle. And if you don't combat tech heat with more tech heat, you're done. And so, who else is using the tech that Lemonade is using? A few other companies, maybe Root or Metro Mile are the most commonly talked about, but Lemonade seems to be in the running as one of the top. I would say the top. Like it's the gap is becoming wider. It seems like first to a million, and no one's really close on their heels. So we'll see how that plays out. So I was thinking about the risk reward on this trade, and to put half of my money into something I felt quite comfortable with, because on one hand, I found a company that I want to own a whole bunch of. Some people like diversification and they believe whatever, they have their own rationale and beliefs about what's good portfolio allocation. To me, it seems like I want to put a lot of money, the majority of my money, into my favorite position that has the most upside, that I have the most conviction in. But for me personally, I also like having a bit of diversification on the other half of the portfolio. And so how my portfolio is allocated is like 70% of my money's in my two favorite stocks, with the majority being in my top stock. And then I'm diversified down from essentially for essentially the last 30%. Um, this way, like I have exposure to different companies that I like. Because I'm not the type that's like I have a favorite and I don't love anything else, like the Tesla bulls out there. But I like owning a little piece of everything. I like Teladoc, Square, you know, some weed stocks, Planet 13. I like having a portfolio with a bunch of cool different industries in it. And so, yeah, but just might as well put the most you can into, or the most you're comfortable with, into your favorite one. It's like taking the best of both worlds, diversification and also um, just going heavy into your favorite. Um, I don't think they're actually that massive of a risk. Um, in the grand scheme of things. Of course, they're very early on and we don't know, but people will always be buying insurance. Lemonade will always have customers, and macro conditions, they'll keep making money. If we go into another lockdown for another 6 months, they'll keep making money. So, um, macro conditions won't really hurt their revenue that much. Um, their upside is massive. They can keep growing as customers keep entering their system. They start spending more and more. Look at this. That's what they call in-force premium. So that's the average. Oh, so that's how much money they have. This is in their last quarter. Um, they grew 67% of users and their premium per customer is up 19%. The more people that sign up each year, they seem to be growing. Their loss ratio is dropping and they're just beasting. Oh, sorry. Wrong page. Yeah, so I don't even think they're that risky in terms of losing customers. How are they going to go bankrupt? They're spending a lot of money, I will admit. They are expanding as fast as they can, but as a shareholder, I want them to keep grinding as hard as they can and expand themselves across this whole world because they actually might have the potential to. They might as well try. Spend that money. Yo, if they offer more shares, we'll buy them. We'll buy those things. And it seems like they have a technology lead, let's be honest. When you start thinking about their back end, thinking about their efficiency, their sophistication, their ability to launch products, their execution thus far, their execution on social media, them making marketing themselves in this amazing way where they always seem to be in the headlines along with some of the biggest names in the industry. Um, yeah, they're making it happen for themselves, and I think they have huge potential. So, yeah, I thought I'd give that little lemonade rant just to celebrate the 27% day that Lemonade had. Let's have a look at it again. Let's have another one last look. Look at this green day today. Congratulations, all the Lemonade holders out there. You guys probably made a whole bunch of money. I hope you guys like that rationale. And if you want to give a thumbs up to the channel, then you can do that. If you don't want to, give it a thumbs down. Take care. Peace.